Okay, let's go.
The faint whisper of sliding doors was barely noticeable, buried beneath the teen's emotional meltdown, but Jinx was listening for it. She fought the urge to glance up as they opened. Odds were it was someone from off-station. Her contact? Had to be. No one else ever got summoned to the Decal's office unless they were slotted for galactic release. No one else was trouble-hungry. If there were other unruly denizens skulking around, Jinx hadn't met them and wasn't looking to. Jinx cast her attention down, casually fussing with the side seam of her pants, then lightly drummed the bench beneath her bum. Rule number 1, don't peek. Not unless you wanted to find your next order laced with a subtle message like poison. She focused all her attention on listening to feet entering the hall. Then, a pause in footsteps. She imagined her contact slowing beside the distraught denizen for the customary interaction, the connecting of palms. No words were exchanged, none were needed. Soul to soul, a connection between all humans, New World denizen or not, meant to bolster strength. Silence followed. Only the click of a door sliding closed disrupted the quiet. Meltdown concluded. Now Jinx could return to the soothing thrill of committing a felony in peace. One set of whisper-quiet feet glided across the floor, barely pausing as they neared. Jinx raised a hand in greeting, keeping eyes cast down, waiting for their palms to meet. She studied the shoes. Not feminine, not masculine either. Narrow, unassuming. The pants dragged along the ground, creating worn, ragged edges, discolored from kicking up dirt. Dirt, Jinx mused. A strange concept. The New World station was nearly absent of it, except in the gardens. It was as precious as the few plants housed there, and it was hard to come by unless you happened to find yourself on one of the few habitable planets rich in soil. Jinx imagined the thinning soles of the approaching shoes racing across some dusty terrain as they outpaced a pursuer. She gets chased a lot. Right or not, the thought made her smile. She twitched as their hands touched. The warm flesh meeting was brief, but it felt like freedom, a touch from life pulsating off-station. Jinx looked forward to flesh but equally squirmed at the thought. Palms were the only body parts allowed to mingle on this station. Even thinking about flesh was discouraged. Her own hormonal brew had, in part, fueled her illegal activity, among other distractions. The station had intended the environment to foster a spiritual nature, not cultivate criminal sensibilities. Somehow, Jinx had taken that as a challenge. As their hands parted, she clutched the illegal cargo. Feeling around its tiny, sharp, metallic edges, she confirmed it was a chip. Whether it was programmed to perform the intended task was another story. She'd have to wait for a less obvious moment to inspect it. Surveillance was everywhere. Jinx kept her head low as the footsteps moved down the hall. She didn't have plans to place another order before her galactic release, but she didn't want to burn that bridge. Besides, she wouldn't mind being on the other end of this delivery system. There was bound to be a monetary incentive for being a mule. No shock, that vocation never made it into career counseling. The mule's footsteps had become barely audible as they paused at the end of the hallway, waiting for the door to the archive to slide open. Jinx pushed the air from her lungs, anticipating the scent that always followed. The musky, sweet smoke would take a few quantics to reach her. Sitting breathless and still, Jinx imagined the transcribers beyond the door faithfully recording everything the denizens were discovering from within the VR. She couldn't hear the ink rolling over ancient papyrus, but she knew the transcribers were filling page after page with wisdom she'd find confusing at best, insufferable at worst. Jinx would never have entered the records room on her own accord, But her friend 1111 had coerced her on a few mind-numbingly silent occasions to keep her company while she studied the texts. There was no reason to enter the room now. This realization never came as a relief. Jinx inhaled deeply, inviting the incense to fill her veins. She hoped it would cling to her clothes so she could take it with her a while longer. The sound of another door sliding open freed Jinx from the spot on the floor where she'd locked her gaze. Looking up, she casually scanned the hall before pushing off her seat. Offering a sly grin, she moved towards the Tikal, now standing in the doorway. The woman's long silver hair was pulled back loosely. It matched her easy disposition. "Are you ready?" The Tikal's gentle voice called from the open door. Jinx shifted her attention to the fire that always burned within. "I was born ready." The usual tension twisting Jinx's insides relaxed as she caught the Tikal's ever-sincere expression, then eased as if the air around her counselor was infused with a sedative. Offering an innocent smile, Jinx slid her hands into her pockets, resisting the urge to examine the contents wrapped in the moist warmth of her palm. She'd wait until she returned to her quarters.